Do you guys realize that you can just make up stories and tell people whatever you want and they'll usually believe you?
Yes.
Yes. No.
Checkmate.
Isaac, that's dripping a little bit on your pants.
Yeah,
But don't worry, I saw it, so I know you didn't pee your pants.
It's hot.
I didn't, so you beat yourself.
Okay.
On our podcast.
And which you're a guest on
What's the
today.
story? What's the story?
Welcome,
you were gonna
Isaac.
Say?
Hi, my name's Isaac.
This is Isaac. He's our guest today. He's going to teach us a lot of things. Welcome, Holden.
Thank you.
We know Holden.
You guys know me.
And I'm Justin. This is the Free Game Podcast.
Yep. Your one-stop shop for all things budget gaming.
Thank you. I never remember to say that.
Yeah, it's fine. I'll just pick up the pieces.
So, today's Free Game Chat, and today we have a guest. Isaac, what are the games you've spent the most time on? 2 questions. That's one of them. And the second one is, what are your favorite games? Because those sometimes aren't the same.
Before we get into that, I just wanted to mention that a Free Game Chat, if you haven't listened to one of these before, is an episode where we talk about whatever. It's free games.
It's Free Game Chat.
Right? And so we talk about, sometimes like last time we talked about our trips that we recently took. Right?
And then Marvel Snap.
We talked about a lot of stuff. Today, we have a guest on, Isaac, and I have 2 questions for you, Isaac.
Absolutely.
The first one is, what are the preferred gaming genres that you played? Like roguelikes or whatever. And then what are your favorite games? Because sometimes those are different.
Yeah, no, I feel you. So here's the thing. I play a lot of stuff. Okay. I have a problem where I get 85% of the way through something and then stop.
Yep.
And then go to something else and pivot and then come back and finish it.
That's pretty high percentage.
I think that is really close to home for Justin and I with a lot of things.
Yeah.
Close to home for me.
For you.
You and I are in the same boat here, Isaac.
When that happens to me, I don't get that far.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't get 80?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You stop.
For me, it's either
45.
I get higher than 80 or I stop at sub 20.
10.
Oh,
maybe.
you start and don't continue.
Yeah.
So yeah, keep going, buddy.
So preferred genre, huh? So it depends. If you're talking like story stuff, like big AAA stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff that would probably fall in like God of War, Ragnarok territory.
Okay.
So big epic story, some RPG, action RPG type of thing.
Witcher 3. You ever played The Witcher 3?
Played The Witcher 3. Played God of War. I beat the first one. I'm about halfway through God of War Ragnarok.
Okay.
And then let me think. What else? So and then like the stuff I play with friends, right? So it almost goes into 2 categories. You got your friends, the stuff you play with your friends.
Yeah.
And you got the stuff you play solo.
Mm-hmm.
And all the story stuff is typically solo, right? Obviously, it's single player focused, whatever. The live action stuff, I've put several hundred hours into Destiny 2.
Oh, okay.
So I've played a lot of Destiny 2.
Okay.
Did you play a lot of Destiny 1?
A decent amount.
Okay.
It was
85%?
Yeah. Okay. I played the crap out of the vanilla version, and then I think there was 2 expansions in between that, and like they had a big revamp towards the end of the transition in between the end of Destiny 1 and the beginning of Destiny 2. And I came back for that.
Okay. Did you get the expansion packs? Or was it
just
kind
the
of the
big
revamp?
One. Just the revamp one. Yeah, the revamp one was really, really good because it changed a ton of mechanics that were really, really terrible with the game that people were complaining about. But played a ton of Destiny 2. Played a ton of League of Legends and TFT. Been playing that since like right after beta, essentially.
2004? I don't know.
Yeah, forever ago. I think it was like 2008 or something when the game came out. I probably started.
That's when Ratatouille came out.
Yeah, not the Ratatouille conversation.
He knows.
Yeah, he knows already.
Of course I know about Ratatouille. I've heard Justin talk about the Ratatouille thing more times than I'd like to admit, and we've had that conversation. We've sat down and had that conversation.
Surf sub is better. All right, you were saying.
Yeah. Anyway, so Destiny 2, I've played a lot of Diablo 3. I've played a lot of Call of Duties on and off.
Okay.
I think Black Ops 2 is probably the height for like my time investment when I was doing that.
So you're a pretty well-rounded individual.
I could keep going for.
You like party games like Smash and
played a ton of Smash. Played a ton of Mario Kart.
Okay, good.
I've played a lot of my Smash actually comes from Melee 64 and then Ultimate. I played a decent amount of Brawl and then skipped entirely the one before Ultimate, which I can't remember.
That was 4. Smash 4U and for Nintendo 3DS.
I skipped that entirely because Wii U was the Wii U.
Yeah.
So
we all know how the Wii U was.
It sold marvelously well.
Yeah.
So skip that entirely. I've played a lot of Magic the Gathering Arena.
Hey, okay. Magic the Gathering is like my big thing. I
thing.
love Magic the Gathering. I play paper though.
Oh, you play paper? Okay. Yeah, I can't justify like just the money sink for that game is it's like I like to collect knives.
I don't buy the cards. So
well,
I used
to. Either way.
I had a almost full-time job and lived with my parents for a couple of years, so I was able to just
disposable
ton
income
of Magic cards. Oh, no. Yeah, I have, probably I don't want to talk about that, but I have a lot of money's worth of Magic cards, and I probably won't buy anymore because I just have enough to just play for a long time.
Yeah. I feel
so. Yeah.
Yeah, except now the Lord of the Rings expansion's coming out.
Yeah,
and the Warhammer one, and
that's what got me
more to have Gandalf in anything out of Warhammer just be in the same
Gandalf commander deck. That would be so sick.
That's pretty sick.
So that's pretty cool.
It sucks that they're doing that because it's just too expensive now.
Yeah, but
a lot of people have beef with Wizards of the Coast.
I have beef with Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah, it's cost prohibitive.
And because I have beef. Also, just because of you, I don't actually know anything about it, but just from you, complaining, like, dude, listen to this. And you tell me what's going on.
You're like, I have beef with Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah. Even though I own one Commander deck and I don't play Arena.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Everyone does these days. And I can't remember. There was something going on with the company, too, that people were mad about.
Yeah.
And then the whole controversy with the One Ring card thing that people are, excited and polarized about. That's a pretty cool thing. So just for reference, they're getting ready to print this series, right? This set with Lord of the Rings, and there's a One Ring.
I'm looking it up.
It's a strong card. There's multiple versions of the One Ring. You can just get the card, right? Like there's a booster box, or whatever you can buy that's guaranteed has it in it. There's one ring though. It's a special printing of the card. It's all in Elvish. It's foiled out the wazoo. You can only get it if you buy a certain booster box or set. It's $150 or whatever. And there's a chance of it being in there. And there's literally only ever going to be one card printed.
I'm fine with that. I'm sorry, but I'm fine with that. Because
as long as you can get the card.
You can get, so there's a ton of different versions of variant, quantities, values or whatever, and rarities. But there's one version that's extra special that there's only going to be ever one printed, because then you have for the gameplay mechanics, right?
Yeah.
Post Malone has already publicly come out saying hey, I'll pay out the wazoo.
Oh,
for whoever has
6 figures plus.
Yeah,
for that card, because he's just addicted to Magic right now.
Yeah, he is.
So people are just going to be hunting it down.
That's
even more so.
Yeah.
I guess it's not.
It's kind of cool.
I think it's fine. Mm-hmm. The fact that the one, and I'm going to read it right now for anybody interested and who likes Magic the Gathering. It's a legendary artifact, 4 cost. It has indestructible. When the One Ring enters a battlefield, if you cast it, you gain protection from everything until your next turn. That's very flavorful. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life for each bird encounter on the One Ring. Very flavorful. Then tap, put a bird encounter on the One Ring, then draw a card for each bird encounter on the One Ring. That's a good card.
So huge initial defense, and then it's a really big return on investment type of card.
Yeah, but it's kind of just like the One Ring. The more you use it, the more life it's draining from you. But who I think I think that if you're playing Magic and you don't see your life as a resource, you're not playing Magic right. I play Phyrexian Arena.
Yeah.
I play Tomb of Yawgmoth. I have a Yawgmoth deck.
Mm-hmm.
And so using life to draw cards, used to it, right? So this card it's really good. It's very powerful. I'm fine with it having the one Elvish version, because it's I'm not going to own it, and I'm not even it's
I don't
whatever.
have a problem with that either, because you don't. It's not like you need it to play.
If they were hey, there's 100 of them, and you have to pay us $500 for it. Yeah. And that's the only printing that is going to be in, I'd be pissed.
It's kind of like the Black Lotus situation, right? Where if all you draft is cards from that set, that card is usually either banned, because there was a period of time where it's like super rare, it's the most expensive. Yeah. This is probably going to trump it for most expensive card just because of how limited
probably
there's only one.
Yeah.
But it's super, super strong. Like, it's a standout, obtusely strong card that then everyone's going after, and that's part of the reason why the price was inflated, on top of the fact that the game was kind of...
Black Lotus is the best card in the game. It's insanely powerful.
I don't even remember what it does.
It's a 0-mana artifact, legendary artifact. Actually, I don't even know if it's legendary. It probably is. No, it's not legendary. You can have multiple Lotuses out. I don't know. Sorry. If it's legendary, then you can only play one of them. But you play it, tap, sacrifice it, add 3 mana of any color to your mana pool. That's it. It's so good.
So it's just free resources. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and you can, I mean, like, back in the day, you could have up to 4 of them in a deck. So, like...
unlimited mana.
It's just crazy. Yeah, it's just crazy.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. So, Magic the Gathering is a good game. Magic the Gathering Arena, I have problems with, but we can talk about that on another podcast.
Yeah, there's a whole nother...
We'll have you on for the Arena episode.
Sure.
How about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So we've done Arena. I've played a lot of on and off Legends of Runeterra too.
Okay, I've never played it. Is it good?
That game's excellent. It's excellent.
Okay.
In the free-to-play model is, like, absolutely killer.
Awesome.
Like, you can... It's amazing.
What is that game? Is it a trading card game?
There was people... I'm pretty sure that some of the development team from Magic the Gathering quit and went and created their own card game called The Legends of Runeterra. And doesn't it have, like, a story to it a little bit?
So Riot obviously Riot Games made League of Legends, right? And League of Legends, when it was in its infancy... was just like completely nonsensical, just whatever. Right? Yeah, they were competing with like Heroes of New Earth, if you know anything about that game.
I don't even remember that.
And like in Dota 2 when it was like just getting a bunch of steam, and at some point they started doing like weekly lore drops where they would have like an in-universe newspaper where they would like talk about things in the universe. Stuff? Yeah, it was like they literally had a writer that worked for them that just wrote this weekly newspaper that was like in theme, right?
Yeah.
And that slowly evolved into, hey, we actually have like some coherency here in the universe. Let's like make a universe just like Blizzard has a universe, right? For their stuff.
Yeah.
And they really leveraged that with Legends of Runeterra.
Okay.
Because obviously the game has all the really good core TCG have like core components that are absolutely identical to Magic, right?
Yeah.
The mana and resource management system.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to.
You have to.
Have something.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of how trading card games work. If you go back to even like Yu-Gi-Oh! And like Pokemon, if you played them on paper, still similar.
It's similar. I think that Yu-Gi-Oh! Was one of the ones that was like the most different. Like they were trying to do something completely different because it had to do with like the sacrifice system, with like playing cards of certain star values, and but now Yu-Gi-Oh! Is just crazy where like you play one card and it's like search your deck for this specific card, then you go find it.
The mechanics are
like,
absurd.
It's insane, and there's like and it's so weird whenever I hear people who like play Yu-Gi-Oh! Talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! They're like, yeah, dude, the Bubblegum Princess line is just insanely powerful, and then you match that with the Trash Pandas, and they just have all these weird like things going on.
I've never seen more densely written
I don't know how people
and
read
mechanics.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards.
Really?
I don't remember that. I used to collect them when I was really little.
Here, let me look
they
up
didn't work that complex when we were young. They've gotten more and more complex.
Yu-Gi-Oh's changed.
That brings up a really interesting topic, which is I bet you neither of you knew this, which is Magic the Gathering is Turing complete.
I knew that. I actually knew that.
It's insane.
I know, dude. Magic the Gathering.
It's so funny.
It is. It just got like added to like the gaming Hall of Fame or whatever as like the most complicated card game of all, the most complicated tabletop game of all time.
Which I would almost argue that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is technically more complicated, but the fact that it's Turing complete means the mechanics can be a computer.
Yeah.
You can using those cards and the mechanics baked into this card game, you can have all the logical function that you would need to create a computer, so aka do math.
Okay.
Yeah. And like Turing complete, like there was this guy, I think that his last name was Turing, and
Alan Turing.
He just basically like created like a very, very rudimentary understanding of what a computer could be. I think that it was before computers were a thing, right?
He literally invented the logical model for the modern day computer.
So it's like this line where you like, it's basically like if this then that. Right? Like that's like basically it's like ones and zeros and if this then that, right? And Magic can do it within a game. So you can do a thing where if you get the perfect hand in a 60 card deck, you can play it out and then go, my hands are off, and it's gonna do whatever it does, and it does computing things. It's crazy. Okay. It doesn't really have like input output. Like you can't go, what are the numbers of pi? Like you can't do that, but it is a computer.
Logically complete as a computing language.
That makes sense to me, man.
It's
every game we play. We play once to twice a month a commander game with our supervisor.
Sure.
Just the three of us. And we've been doing it for a while. I only have one commander deck. It's a Warhammer one, Tyranids.
Yeah.
And I love it. I play it every time. And I still like they each have a bunch of decks. So every game is such a big learning experience for me still.
Because you're getting exposure to everyone else's stuff.
Holden's showing me a picture of Endymion,
I guess,
the mighty master of magic that has
a Yu-Gi-Oh card.
I mean, a novel.
It's that's part of the reason I just don't play Yu-Gi-Oh. Like I've tried to get into it multiple times. I can't. I just can't do.
I would need readers. I would need reading glasses.
It gives you eye strain just to even try to play the game. Like, please, no, thank you. That's not my cup of tea.
I'm gonna be playing Yu-Gi-Oh, and like I'm gonna be like an old man. I'm gonna have to like put it out a little bit further and like squint.
Hold it out.
Tilt it away from the sun.
So what is your favorite game?
I don't have a favorite.
What is your top 3?
Okay, top 3. If we're talking, talking strict. Let's just do it strict playtime. How about that?
Yeah. What are the games that you put the most play in?
And then we can do like of each category if you want.
Okay.
Because it's hard to compare TCG to.
Or we'll do a couple categories.
Because I can give you like what I would consider absolutely top tier, most time spent in like categories for sure.
Okay.
Action, RPG, probably Monster Hunter.
Which one?
I've put a lot of hours into World Rise and like some of the old classics.
Isaac, you and I are going to get along swimmingly.
Yeah.
So I
think I've got like 500 hours in Rise.
Wait, but you know this. You know this about me, but I didn't know this about you. Because you've listened to the podcast, I don't know you. Until just now.
Yep.
So I just recently with my brother am getting back into World. We're playing World again.
No. Yeah, I've been playing.
He's going to get me into it. Eventually.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's like deceptively simple, yet it appears like it has a super steep learning curve.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where a lot of people try because it looks freaking sick, and they get turned, and then you hit a menu and you're like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
I don't understand. And the truth is,
here's
ignore
what you
that.
need. Here's what you need when you're playing Monster Hunter. You need one person sitting there that's put any amount of time into it to go, hit B out of that thing. It's just telling you to open up your menu. It's just telling you to read this.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Literally. Like, they go into so much detail about this stuff that, like,
Weird.
I wish there was a button in a Monster Hunter game where if I start it, it's like, how many years have you been playing Monster Hunter? And I could be like 5. And they're like, okay, we're not going to tell you anything. Right? Okay. Because you go into it and they're like, now we're going to go collect mushrooms. Don't forget that you have to press X to attack. And also, Y is your strong attack. And also, you can block. Like, they walk you through everything. And it seems so complicated. But really, it's like you don't need to know what dragon toadstools do right now. Just move on, you know?
Yeah. You can min-max.
It's my favorite franchise.
It's like easy to learn, hard to master. Yeah. And that back half of complexity is highly unnecessary for 99% of the game. If you want
and 99% of the player base.
Isaac, I didn't even... By the way, it's weird to call him Isaac for me because his name is Bard Unit in my head and in my phone.
Is what?
Bard Unit. Yeah. His last name is Bard. Sorry to put your full name out there.
No, you're all right.
And so we just started calling him Bard Unit probably 10 years ago.
Should we all just go around and talk about our first and last names? Okay, so you are Bard. You are Isaac Bard.
Bard, yeah.
Okay, I am Holden Kennedy.
Nice to
That's
meet
my full name. And you are...
Have we really not said our...
I've never said my full name.
I think you're the only one who has.
Should I not?
Yeah, don't.
The only one I've given my date of birth. Isn't that enough for you people?
Seriously.
I didn't even know that you had played so much Monster Hunter.
Yeah, it's just because
I haven't.
It's so good.
It's because you can. Here's the thing: it's like it's geared for 4-player co-op, but it's also geared as a solo experience.
You, me, my brother, and you, Monster Hunter World.
Oh, I've got it. I probably put 150 hours into it on Switch, and then I bought it on so I saved up forever to get a PC. I had a really crappy old on sale Alienware laptop that I used.
Whoa, hey now.
I think he barked because my mate cup.
Oh, are you drinking something?
Sorry, I've got this mate going over here. You remember mate, Holden?
Yeah, I remember mate.
Hey,
are you drinking something?
Same old, more mate, you know?
Wow, we got
Nice.
2 mate cups going like we're living in freaking the outskirts of Buenos Aires
Yeah,
today,
of course,
man.
dude. So action RPGs, you got Monster Hunter. What about like FPS? What's your thing?
Halo and Call of Duty, obviously. I've played a ton of Halo. There's many hours spent in Halo 2 in a multiplayer map, smashing the wings off of Banshees to try to stick them places they don't belong.
Yeah.
So, would you say Halo 2 takes the cake in terms of hours on Halo game, or?
No, probably Reach.
Okay.
Reach and just Infinite multiplayer.
Really? You've played a lot of Infinite?
I've played a decent amount. The thing is Infinite's like, the multiplayer experience for Infinite is amazing if you're talking strictly gameplay.
Okay.
And Halo is one of those games that's like competitive that I can like legitimately say I can leave and come back and hold my own like 100%.
Nice.
Like I'm good at Halo.
I'm not.
Call of Duty is one of those things.
I used to be.
You used to be.
Call of Duty,
dude. If you fall off the bus with Call of Duty, you might be good at like one of the games because you have really good
And then
map
you come
knowledge,
back.
and you got sweaty 12-year-olds freaking
laying you out.
You can't.
Yeah, using
Time
their
and time
their like sticky grappling hook or whatever the new thing is.
Yeah. And racial slurs coming out the wazoo.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Now the newest Call of Duty.
What is it called again?
It's the Modern Warfare.
Modern Warfare, that's right.
2.
So many
remake.
people are upset because of like the matchmaking process, right?
Oh yeah, because
isn't that a thing where it's like you're in like a rank or something?
It's the what do you call the system? It's skill based matchmaking. Yeah. All the older Call of Duties had it, but it was not as tight, and it was mostly just solely based on rank. So
I heard a lot of like Twitch streamers are upset
because they
it's hard
can't
to
curb stomp everybody.
Yeah, you can't
anymore.
get good clips, you know, because the people you're playing with aren't, 5.
They're as good as you, and it's in the AI for it. It's all AI learning models to try to do it based on like a bunch of analytics they pull from the game from their data collection. That's really really disturbing levels of like
So that's something that a lot of for like every FPS people are like, why don't they do something like this?
Yeah.
It sounds to me like they're actually kind of making it possible. Like, especially League of Legends, like playing against people at your skill level. Yeah. It's just not really going to happen because that's such a hard thing to nail down.
Yeah, I don't know
and
why
that's why
it's so
people
hard.
smurf.
Because like in the games, like in the game that I play, sorry to bring it up again if you're annoyed by it, but the game that I play that I'm like quote unquote the most competitive, I've never been like an online competitive gamer.
Yeah,
I've always like I've said this before, but like I was horrified of video games.
You tend to. It seems like you tend to go solo in social games.
Yeah.
As opposed to, I mean, by social I mean like Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
Not non-competitive
like
environments.
The sweatiest I like the first time that I got really sweaty in a game was Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Well, we all know how good how stinky those tournaments are. So.
Dude. Like I've been to one. It was I felt so bad because the Nampa Rec Center had like a Smash tournament thing. My brother-in-law was like, hey, let's go to this. And we show up and it's just like a bunch of like 12-year-olds.
Really?
Like just little kids. Yeah. And like one like older gentleman.
45-year-old.
Yeah.
These days the advertising there's no way to not.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I got third and then my 2 brother-in-laws got placed first. They're really they're better than me. But I was playing and this one guy, quick little story. This one guy came up and we were playing against each other and he went to look for Bayonetta. No, not Bayonetta. Sorry. Pyron Mithra.
Oh, okay.
Classic, you know? And he's like, hey, do you have Pyron Mithra? And the guy's like, the guy who brought his Switch to be played in a tournament didn't get the DLC.
Nice.
So then the guy's like, well, that's my main. And he's like, sorry, man, I don't have the DLC. And so he's like, all right, I guess I'll just play Jigglypuff. And I main Yoshi.
Okay.
So I stomped him. Sadly, I 3-stocked him. And the other guy, he stood up and went, 3-stocked by a Yoshi. And I was like, dude, I'm sorry. But so I got real sweaty in that. But then back to what I was saying, Marvel Snap is like the first game I've ever actually like cared to be good at in like a competitive way. And the matchmaking kind of stinks in that game. Yep. Like I play against really, really bad people, and then I play against like literally infinite players. And it's really hard to like know the back and forth. Like I heard one of the content creators for Snap like one of his fans like sent him a DM. It was like, hey, I'm rank 20 and I just played against you. And that guy was infinite. And he's like, why are we playing together?
Yeah.
Why?
It's probably because there isn't
Which
Yeah.
is, it's just hard to nail down because, like, infinite player just means rank 100, max rank.
Yeah.
Okay.
Holden, we play with our coworker Donnie, who we've had on the podcast.
Yeah.
Donnie has always been ahead of us, I would say,
Yeah.
in terms of just the game in general.
He's just better, dude.
But I would say, like...
Not taller, though.
No. I got that on him, at least.
Yeah.
The three of us aren't that different in terms of skill.
Right.
But for some reason, recently, I dropped rank really hard. And now I just got out of the 10s, so the lowest rank. And so I'm playing against way different crowd than they are.
Yeah.
Donnie got to infinite last season. He was playing against infinite people, the top tier.
Yeah.
Holden was like in the middle, but more towards the top.
I was
in terms
like
of who
70,
you were playing against.
I was in the 70s.
Upper
So
echelon.
you were playing infinite and other people.
I wasn't playing I wasn't playing as people with pool 1 cards, right? Like I was playing against but I could tell like, okay, this person isn't as high, but like
there's a card that isn't a good card called Orca. I built a deck around him and I've been succeeding, which just goes to show who I'm playing against.
Yeah.
They just don't, a lot of them are bots.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's so hard to nail down this matchmaking because there is those huge differences in like, I'll play an infinite play or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't understand it. I don't understand it at all.
There's nothing to understand about those systems because they're never gonna like. So
It's
I majored in computer science.
Okay, so that's why you're saying all these smart things that you're saying.
like
I
the
guess.
Turing.
Okay. See, some of that stuff is like bog standard from just the people
Well,
I've been around for the last.
I'm not like a computer science major, and I know what a Turing machine is.
Right.
You're
Justin,
like the first guest that's like actually an expert.
You're the first guest that we're
okay.
probably gonna have back on the show. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Your wife was a guest.
Yeah, that's true.
Sorry, sweetie, but
yeah.
we're gonna have to fire you.
This guy's like, I mean, you get it, right?
Just him. No, it's just us three doing the podcast now.
Oh,
Like,
dude.
Anyway,
But
go ahead.
so you majored in computer science.
Yeah.
And you were gonna say something about that or no?
Oh, yeah, no. So it's just like insight into how analytics and those type of data collection things go on. It's like you mess up one line of code and all of a sudden everyone that's,
Kitty Pryde doesn't work.
top, yeah, everything breaks.
Yeah.
Everything breaks. And the truth is especially for mobile apps, that's even more common. Just how the development cycle goes and how like the live service thing is.
Yeah.
They're nowhere near as mature as something like a Riot Games who's been trying to pin down the problems with their matchmaking for like
years.
Literally since the inception of a ranked queue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I remember seeing the transition from, because I played a lot of ranked early on, from like mechanical skill to like knowledge.
Yeah.
And I'm really mechanically skilled, but I wasn't like good at the game as far as how the mechanics work and stuff like that. Just really base level.
Yeah.
And the first ranked season I played, it was like I got placed in like high platinum just based off of mechanical
League
skill.
of Legends.
Yeah, and then like 2 seasons down the line, it's like, yep, you're starting in silver because you don't know how to end a game quickly.
Yeah.
Right? And you're letting games slip. But whenever you try to balance anything to 50-50, to be fair, these are the types of problems you see.
Yeah.
Right? So it's tricky, especially with cards.
And no matter what you do, everyone will complain about it.
Yep.
You play any platformers?
Platformers. Yeah, I grew up with Banjo-Kazooie.
Nice.
And I was playing... What was I playing? I don't remember. I haven't done a lot of really big platformers recently.
Okay.
But I grew up on Game Boy, GBA.
Nice,
so
man.
like just... And I even I bought an Analog Pocket not that long ago.
No, you did not.
I did.
No, you didn't.
So I've got that thing loaded up.
Isaac?
I don't know what that is.
You just keep saying things that make me
You're
very
speaking
happy.
his language.
How did you get one?
Well, so I was
Are they more available now?
in the secondhand market, especially for like a markup of like $50.
So not that bad.
Not that bad.
When they first came out, the markup was insane.
Hundreds. It was double or triple the value of the machine. The thing is that so I ordered one from them, and then like 3 weeks.
Did you get the dock and everything, or just the?
I didn't. I got a really nice carrying pouch for it that's like waxed canvas and
nice,
stuff.
dude.
And a screen protector. I didn't bother with the dock and that kind of thing. And I also got like I was following the Reddit for it, and they made some grips, some nice 3D printed grips for it. So I've got one that's shaped like the GBA that slides it in, and then so you can hold it like that.
That's sick.
So that's pretty neat, and I've got that thing loaded.
Would you like to know what an analog pocket is?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Isaac, take the floor.
All right, so do you know what emulation is? Are you familiar with emulation?
I mean, kind of like
vaguely
how they put Game Boy games on the Switch now.
Is official
Stuff like that.
official emulation.
Okay.
Big companies are just now dipping their toes into it. It's essentially producing another piece of hardware in software, right? So Game Boy games on the Switch, for example.
Yeah, or Game Boy games on your computer for free that you get from like Napster or whatever.
Yeah,
Not Napster.
from completely legitimate legal websites. And resources, 100%. But anyway, you can dump a game into a a file and then throw that in an emulator and play it. What's cool about the Analog Pocket is it's a piece of hardware. It's a nice piece of hardware.
Okay,
it's really nice.
But it's also something.
I'll look it up and show you. It's beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
Okay,
but it's also something called an FPGA board. FPGA is, I think, a field programmable gate array.
Okay.
Gatorade?
Gatorade. Gate array.
So who makes these?
Analog.
It's a company called Analog.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
I was like, you have an analog. Like I was picturing.
Like knobs.
Yeah. Have you ever seen a analog sprinkler clock?
Yes.
That's the dial. I was like, how do you have an analog Game Boy? No. Okay, that's a company.
It runs off of winding a spring in the
back. That
back.
answers a lot of my questions. Because I was like, analog Game Boy?
Yeah. No,
it's gotta be huge.
Analog in this particular field of talk means on hardware.
Yeah, just 1-to-1 on hardware.
1-to-1 on hardware. So instead of emulating something on software, saying like throwing a Game Boy on a PC, this is literally 1-to-1 identical to actually playing the system on if you had it in your hand.
Okay.
Because it's got a chip in it that's reprogrammable. And so essentially you load up a special file and it mechanically operates identically to a Game Boy.
Which is
mechanical level.
It's insane, dude. Like it does not make sense to me because I don't understand computer stuff and all that. But when somebody told me this is the way that it works, it blew my mind.
Yeah, you wouldn't be familiar with FPGAs unless you were in the electrical engineering field.
Yeah.
They're super expensive to make. Part of the reason why that thing is so expensive is mainly just the chip they put in it.
Yeah.
But the thing can emulate with it can emulate SNES. It can Super
NES,
Nintendo,
SNES,
Game Boy, Game
PlayStation
Boy
1
Advance.
games. I think
Some they're working on it. It's really meant for that 8-bit, 16-bit Sega Genesis arcade cabinets.
Yeah,
full scale arcade cabinets. They've literally copied. So it's hey. They've
like
got
Dig Dug and
but not Dig Dug that was ported to the Game Boy where you're playing it like a Game Boy game that's Dig Dug. It's the Dig Dug cabinet is running in your hand.
Another thing that's crazy about the Analog Pocket is that you can add save states
to everything.
To a physical game.
Yeah.
You can put your game in there and it will add a save state physically onto the
so
the hardware
not in the
parity,
memory of the handheld analog thing, but the game itself
works.
Yeah.
So you can literally, so the thing with the Analog Pocket is not only can you they opened a developer mode that allows you to do all this off of an SD card. So if you have a huge collection of Game Boy games and you've ripped all the games and loaded them up onto storage, but it literally, you can literally plug in a Game Boy game and it will work.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the reason why is because for all intents and purposes, down to the hardware and circuitry level, it is identical to a Game Boy.
Yeah, but it's also a Sega Genesis. And hardware-wise, it's crazy.
Yeah, they make adapters where it's hey, you got a Game Gear game you want to slap on this? Just stack on this teetering power tower onto the back of your machine and you can plug a Game Gear in.
Literally, dude, it's amazing. Thank you, Justin.
So it's really interesting. So I got one of those. So I have
jealous, dude.
I've got a huge GBA library.
Me too.
And it's all loaded up on there.
Oh, I have physical.
Oh, I've got a decent one. I've got 2 SPs in an Advance sitting at home just from childhood collecting.
I have an SP, an Advance, a Color, a Pocket, and an original GB, like a DMG.
Yeah, he's in deeper than me, but I put it all in the analog pocket. So I just,
No, dude, you have an analog.
I just don't care anymore.
Combined, you're unstoppable.
It's kind of like the Thanos Gems of Power situation with Game Boys.
We are the Game Boys.
Yes,
you and me.
Yes, so I did Game Boys. So all the platformers, like it's all the classics, right?
Yeah.
Let me ask you something before we get off this. Have you heard of a POW Kitty?
Oh yeah.
Madeline bought one for her siblings.
What's a POW Kitty?
And it actually came in the mail. I didn't think it would. I thought it was a scam.
No, they'll come like 6 months down the road because shipping out of some factory in China.
What is it? You know what it is?
Yeah,
you know
so it's an emulation machine, but it's just designated hardware for it. Like China is doing a really good job of just getting these affordable little standalone.
Yeah, and they just have like 100 games pre-downloaded onto them and stuff.
Yeah, and you can load them up with an SD card or whatever, and they run most everything perfectly.
This thing has thousands of games on it.
Yeah, have you heard of those like Game Boy like carts?
Yes,
that you can put
flash
an
cards.
SD card into, but they're like really expensive because you can like click on the back of them and like add save states to them and stuff.
Yeah,
it's crazy. There's
I think the coolest one of those I've ever seen was like a solo project. This is going to blow your mind because I guarantee you haven't heard of it.
I don't know, dude. I'm into this stuff.
I know, but this was really small batch, like electrical engineer, like building this on request because I'm like I tinker a lot. Okay, good. and like my boss, so I pivoted from computer science and went into the cybersecurity field. Okay, and so
I didn't even know that.
So my boss is like. You know, he builds his own keyboards, he hardware hacks, he like does all this stuff. He goes to DEF CON every year, like he's in it.
Does he have a jailbroken Wii?
Oh yeah, do you want one by the way? So that was something I was going to tell you when I got here. I have like a jailbroken Wii I was going to bring to give to you guys for the show. I didn't have time to pack. I'm really tired this week, and so I didn't have time to like get it here
for all intents and purposes and for legal reasons. I'm going to say no.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. The cool part about that is that so it's an old Wii.
But tell me about it.
Yeah, I got it from my father-in-law. And he used to be like kind of upper echelon. Worked at Microsoft for a while, so he always had like the cool cutting edge stuff. Yeah. Which included the Wii when it came out, which means he also bought the component cable kit for it. Which, if you know anything about getting component cables for old consoles that were all What's the term for just the red, white, and yellow composite versus component? That's what it is. Those cables are expensive, hard to come by, weren't made that often because this was like the transition from composite was in between that and HDMI.
Okay.
Right. So it's higher. It's the highest definition you can get natively out of the console with that cable set.
Okay.
So that's pretty interesting. So I got one of those I can give off. The only caveat is you guys will have to figure out. I can help, facilitate the game side of things. But the way it works.
That's if you were to give it to us,
right?
Because
so
we can't actually.
This is hypothetical. Yeah. How this system works because it's fascinating from an electrical engineering standpoint,
and that's why we're talking about it. It's for educational purposes.
That's right. And then later we'll talk about it more.
That's right.
After we turn the mic off.
But essentially what it allows you to do is you put a modified operating system on the Wii through some sort of hardware exploit typically or software exploit.
I've heard it takes a long time. And it's
tricky. Yeah. It's not that hard if you're familiar with the process.
I'm not.
But you can have an entire library of games backed up legally and legitimately acquired onto a hard drive, and then just boot straight from that. Yeah. So you could have, you buy a 1 terabyte drive off of freaking whatever, and plug it in the wall, get it spinning. Yeah. And you have the entire Wii library on it, and you can just have the Wii just do that. And that works also for anything the Wii supports. Yeah. Which includes all the virtual library. Yeah. All the GameCube library. Yeah. That Game Boy Advance emulator that's not supposed to work on the on the console, but it does because people want to play on the big screen. So anyway, that was a side project.
Wait, so is the GBA thing? Do you think that it works because it worked on the GameCube and like GameCube games worked on the Wii? So maybe like the hardware kind of
somewhat. The truth is like computers just in generally are getting powerful enough that just like brute forcing emulation on stuff that would 10 years ago be considered like impossible is now possible.
Nice, dude.
So it's pretty neat. Like computing in the last 10 years has gotten extremely compact and extremely powerful for just stuff that you'd have to like actually think about for a minute. It's like, I'm just gonna get this Python library and just force it to work because I've got enough performance overhead that I don't have to think about it. So it's like, cool.
Interesting. I don't understand everything that you're saying, but it's all very interesting.
Okay, cool. As long as it's interesting.
Oh, no, this is
I
very
understand
intriguing.
way less than Holden, and it's very interesting.
Yeah, awesome.
All right. So that we can talk about the logistics of that later, but that's not a big deal.
Let's talk about what you brought to us here. What like, because you didn't bring the Wii, because that we don't do that.
I have to go get it out of a tub and get it all packed up, and I'm like, I want to sleep in and then come over here and not have to stress about it. So
dude, don't even worry about it.
We'll get that sorted later.
Yeah, but you brought a list.
I brought a list. I did some brainstorming, and I brought a list, and it's a list of strictly free to play titles. If it be to some capacity, if it be like just straight up, you could do it solo experience super good.
Yeah.
Everything on this list I've at least touched or spent several hundred hours in it.
Okay.
I starred the ones I've spent, like, I'm a little more educated on.
Okay.
But let's just go down the list, because I know a lot of the listeners, they come for budget gaming, right? So just as a proof of concept for how accessible all this stuff is, I'll just go down the list and then we can talk about some of this.
That sounds great, dude. You're in charge.
All right.
This is your podcast.
So, starting at number 1, and we're just going to go down.
Yep.
Rocket League, Teamfight Tactics, Dauntless, Paladins, Warframe, Overwatch 2, Guild Wars 2, War Thunder, World of Tanks, Brawlhalla, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy XIV Online Trial, which is like a trial you can play for like 300 hours. So it's anyway. CSGO.
Wait, is Final Fantasy XIV still open?
What do you mean open? Like
open for adding new people? Because I heard that there was like a time when you couldn't actually play Final Fantasy XIV.
We can talk about it in a minute. That was a blip in the game. Yeah, it's
over now?
Yeah, it's been over for a while.
Okay.
Valorant, Apex Legends, RuneScape, I guess 2007 Scape, and the new one.
Mm-hmm.
Like the new one's picking up some steam, so people are playing that too. Path of Exile. Epic Store freebies. So Epic Games Launcher to compete with Steam.
Oh.
Every month they give away 2 to 3 free games. This year they're giving away Dying Light for free.
Really?
Like a lot of them are really. I had the account when they first launched it.
Mm-hmm.
I've got several hundred games I've never played that I got for free. At least half of them are AAA titles that are a couple years old.
That's awesome, dude. This guy's bringing the heat.
Yeah,
so
I'll say.
Epic Games Store. What you do, you just log in and claim them, and you go back and have a library, right?
Yeah.
Warzone. I guess, and by extension, that other mode, the extraction shooter mode. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head.
Okay.
But Genshin Impact, also on iOS. That's a cross-platform thing.
Yeah, it's a capture game.
The developers of Genshin Impact are releasing a couple other games too, kind of semi in the same universe, that are coming out too, that are different genres, but the same type of gacha system.
Mm-hmm.
Dota 2, Hearthstone, Magic the Gathering Arena, which we touched on.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple. The Dolphin emulator for Wii and for GameCube is going live on Steam as an actual game, like a piece of software you can use.
Wait. So what is Dolphin emulator?
It's Wii and GameCube.
Just those games?
Just that console.
It's what it was called?
It's like the so Project Dolphin was the code name, I believe, for the Wii.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So they call it the Dolphin emulator, and it's like the definitive emulator specifically for GameCube.
And that's going out on Steam?
Like, you could download it before, but they're launching it on Steam now.
That's awesome.
So that's super cool. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic.
What was this one?
Online. Oh, this one. This is upcoming. Okay, yeah, that's a new MMO that's upcoming called Blue Protocol. It's a Korean action MMO that they just had their people have been really in the MMO community have been really excited about.
Upcoming, but free to play?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's going to launch free to play. They just had a big beta test, I think, in like Korea or Japan or something that a bunch of American YouTubers got into. But it's being published, I think, by Konami, so it's coming over.
Okay,
it's coming over. And then Halo Infinite multiplayer I put on the back.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, so
that's just a handful.
Yeah. Have you played much Rocket League?
A decent amount. I played both the mobile version and the thing on my PlayStation.
The mobile version.
It's actually pretty good.
It's a solid game. I haven't played much of it, but my brother-in-law
has it always been
played.
free?
Yep. As far as I know.
It's just a fun little game. Do you remember that game from the Nintendo Direct in February that was what was it? It wasn't foosball.
It was air hockey. It was like an air hockey.
We got to do that one still.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear about this? What was it called? Do you remember?
Vaguely, in your notes. Because I actually watched that Direct before you guys covered it. Because I was looking to see if there was going to be any news on the new Breath of the Wild game.
By the way, have you played Breath of the Wild?
Yeah, but I'm not that far into it. I've played... I think my favorite Zelda game, just because I played it all the way through, was probably Twilight Princess.
Oh, same here,
but
actually.
Part of the reason I liked it so much was because just the setting, right? It's more gritty and down to earth, and I really like that because it's such a cartoony, lighthearted universe that take on it was like different,
a little more dark,
right? Just like Metroid Prime versus some of the other Metroid games,
just like Majora's Mask versus Ocarina of Time.
Exactly.
I think Twilight Princess used to be my favorite Zelda game just because that was the only one I ever really played.
Right.
But I think Breath of the Wild takes the cake for me now, and I've not played nearly as much yet of Breath of the Wild. But I did pre-order Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Did you?
I haven't pre-ordered it. I have no reason to pre-order it.
Okay.
Because it's just like something I'll end up getting, so just don't worry about it.
Sarah and I both pre-ordered it as well, because we just couldn't. There's no possible way we could wait for the other partner to act like okay, it's my turn now. So we both bought a copy.
Yeah. Right, that's awesome.
And I didn't know this, but Spencer, our coworker, showed me a picture and was like, "Hey, apparently people who pre-ordered through Best Buy get like a
map
picture
or something,
like a map." And I was like, dude, I pre-ordered through Best Buy, so I'm going to get a cool picture.
I did GameStop. I shouldn't have.
I did. So actually, this is something I wanted to talk about. I don't care about having a physical copy of any game.
Oh, really?
Really? It just doesn't, it's not my thing.
Sure.
And so I buy almost all my games digitally.
Okay.
Because I just want them now. I don't want to have to drive down to GameStop and, pick it up and all that.
Yeah.
Sarah is like, I want the physical game, right? And we don't need two physical games. So I got the digital release. And she got the physical game. So so she got the cart through Best Buy. I did something that I recently found out about, which is game vouchers. So anybody that's trying to save a couple bucks, this is something that you can do. So on Nintendo Switch Online, you can't do it through the shop on your Switch, but you can do it if you have a Nintendo account, which you should. You can do it online, on your phone or on your computer. You can go on there and spend $100. I know it sounds like a lot for the free game chat, but you can spend $100 on a game voucher, and it's good for 2 games. And these are
full price games.
Full price games.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. So you spend $100, and for me, for instance, I got Tears of the Kingdom, and I love Link's Awakening.
Oh, sure.
So I got the Link's Awakening remake, which is $60.
The DX,
there you go, dude.
Link's Awakening DX or whatever.
So you saved $30.
So I saved $30 just because I was already going to get Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
Yep.
And and if you look through here, I'll actually open it up right now, and we can talk about, I'll just talk about, the games that are available for these game vouchers, because it's not like...
Also, I think this episode... We're going to try to do a Tears of the Kingdom first impression as soon as we can after it comes out and we've played it a little bit. This episode will probably come out after that. Because I think this comes out at the end of May.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, so cool. I don't know your guys' schedule, so I'm just along for the ride.
So here are the eligible games. It changes, it fluctuates. The eligible games fluctuate, but for Nintendo, it makes so much more sense for them to get $100 than for you to... Oh, yeah. So Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Bayonetta Origins, the brand new Bayonetta game, Cereza and the Lost Demon, Pikmin 4, brand new game, Kirby Return to Dreamland Deluxe, brand new game, Fire Emblem Engage, brand new game, Advance Wars, hasn't even come out yet, so you can get Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp, Splatoon 3, Pokemon Scarlet, Pokemon Violet, Bayonetta 3, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, still $60,
it's
Mario Kart Deluxe.
All the big hitters.
All the big games. So if you are wanting to look for some games or whatever, you can save up $100 and get, because Tears of the Kingdom is $70.
It's your first $70 game.
It's the first $70 game. So for me, it just made way more sense to spend the $100 because it's $30 more and I can get another $60 game. So
Yep.
that's something that I would highly recommend if you're looking to get that thing for yourself. So
it's a pretty sweet deal. I almost never buy 2 AAA titles at the same time.
Neither do I,
because I have a huge problem with like, dude, if you're into like gaming as a whole, right now this 6-month period is so stupidly, absurdly loaded with stuff across every single platform.
Yeah,
I'm just like underwater with stuff I want to play, and I just keep throwing money at the wall. It's just ridiculous.
That's like after the Nintendo Switch episode came out for us was when we like partially because we wanted to niche down and like have like I think that we can talk about free games, but also like I can't buy Tears of the Kingdom and Pikmin 4 and Bayonetta and Advance Wars. I can't do all that stuff. Yeah. So, and I think that a lot of people feel the same way. So focusing on free games is really good, especially right now, because there's a lot of games that can scratch that itch.
Yes.
Monster Hunter Rise just came out. If you want to try that, try out Dauntless first.
Yep.
Like, see if you like the feel of that.
Yep.
If you want to get into here, let's look at your list here because
let's go into Dauntless. Have you played a lot of Dauntless?
I played a decent amount of it.
But if you own a Monster Hunter game, it's like, why play Dauntless?
That's the real problem. Is Monster Hunter is a complete, like, nothing has come close to touching it.
Thank you.
As far as what it offers. The only thing that's adjacent is the recent release, Wild Hearts.
Never heard of it.
But it's kind of technically broken, so like from a technical standpoint it's really poorly optimized.
Okay.
I heard
Monster Hunter adjacent. It's the first almost competitor to Monster Hunter.
I heard that there was a really, really, really good competitor to Monster Hunter, but just nobody's heard about it because it came out on the PS Vita, and like who played the Vita? It was called Tokiden Kiwami.
Yeah, Tokaiden.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Tokaiden.
Yeah. I played that.
Yeah,
it's decent.
Yeah, I've heard, and also like a lot of like Monster Hunter likes that are really good came out on the Vita, and nobody has the Vita. I have a Vita.
I've got a definitely not modded Vita.
Okay, good for legal reasons.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will say this. I don't know if I've known Isaac for a long time.
Very long time.
I don't know that I've ever seen you play a game on something that wasn't modded. Like, you've been into this stuff forever.
So let's put it this way. Okay. My first console I ever owned was a completely busted original Game Boy that I got like years after it was released. The batteries, like, I don't know, the battery delivery board was cooked, and so you had to have that thing hard lined to a power strip to even turn on.
Oh, okay.
I had one game for it, and it was Ninja Turtles. I don't know. There's 3 Ninja Turtles games that came out on it. I beat it. I would shock myself when I plugged it in because the power supply had a short, so I'd always like it was jank.
Yeah.
A couple years later, I got a GBA probably a year or two after it came out for like my 9th birthday or something like that. Maybe my 7th birthday. I don't even remember. Yeah. And then my first real console was an N64. Again, a hand-me-down from my cousins when they bought the original Xbox. So just to show you like the discrepancy of like
the
how
timeline.
I never had cutting edge. Like
neither did I, dude.
I'm like a 90s kid at heart because we never could afford anything new. So it's like, I know what a Walkman is. Yeah, I did cassettes. Yeah, I did N64. And like most of my childhood's there because I always got hand-me-downs. 360 and PS3 were 2 years into its lifespan. This was the biggest Christmas I ever had.
Yeah.
I got a PS2 and an original Xbox the same Christmas.
Wow.
What year?
It would have been...
You're like 2020.
No.
Biggest Christmas of my life.
But it would... So whenever the freaking PS3 and Xbox 360 launched, they would have been in the first front half of their life cycle. It was right after that because...
Yeah,
and also hand-me-down. And PS2 and Xbox probably plummeted
in value.
Yeah,
and you might remember. Do you remember the pawn shop?
PS3 and Xbox 360 were such a step above.
It's the only thing that's ever had that big of a technical.
Like I'm sorry, but like the PS5 and the PS4, I know that fidelity and all that, but like when it comes to like just pure power, they're comparable.
In a lot of ways, yes. Yeah, they are.
Like, I'm looking into getting a PS4, and they're, like, almost as expensive as a PS5.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
That's
never been how it is.
Well, it's because development hasn't stopped for them.
Yeah.
Right. There's still really, really good development for it. Which,
because
which holds the PS5 back because they're doing the cross development on
It's like people are
platforms.
like, why would I buy a PS5 if you're just you're releasing all your PS5 games for my PS4?
If it's competent, yeah, there's no point.
Yeah.
So I spent a ton of time on the PS2 and original Xbox, and there was a little hole in the wall pawn shop that was down the street from both. It's actually
was it A1 Games? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, baby, A1 Games.
I mentioned that the other day to someone.
And they had amazing trade-in value.
Oh, okay.
And when those new consoles launched, like the cool part about getting hand-me-downs like that is I almost always had like cream of the crop game selection, right? Because it's like the new consoles drop, those games that everyone coveted so much just get shoehorned to me, and I have like access to amazing libraries.
Yeah.
So that's one of the benefits. So I had Halo and Halo 2 and like some of the really early what else? Like Fable. No, Fable 1 was on the original Xbox.
Yeah, I remember.
I think. No, was it? No, it was on the 360.
No, it was on the Xbox.
No, it was on the Xbox.
The original I remember opening it up and seeing that big green X.
The goober, the Xbox goober. And I had like Call of Duty and Medal of Honor and stuff for the PS2 or whatever, and like Kingdom Hearts and Bully and stuff like that.
Yeah. Bully, dude. When did they
get the Bully game? So when I got the 360, my next door neighbor had a. This is fine. There's enough redaction here that I'm just it's not a big deal. But he was running like this is right in the middle of the 360 Red Ring of Death kerfuffle.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
So where they were failing, like I think I read somewhere that model, that series of 360s during that time period when they were being manufactured, have a definitive 100% failure rate.
Yeah.
Like they will eventually break. Period.
Yes, that's just how it is.
It's just because of the way they made the board. It's terrible. We can talk about that later. That was a whole thing. It's kind of interesting, but that's a whole thing.
I bet it's really interesting.
It's a pretty big oopsie on Microsoft's part. Anyway, it's like how'd that pass QA? Anyway, he was just eating. He was technically competent, my next door neighbor, and this is next door neighbor's dad. I was friends with the next door neighbor. His dad.
Okay, I was like, no, he wasn't.
No, he wasn't. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about. No, it was his dad. His dad was technically competent, and he had some soldering skills and some soft modding skills. So he would jailbreak Xboxes and sell them out of his house for like half price. Wow. I originally figured that out because I went to a yard sale they were doing, and they're like, yeah, here's an original PSP. That's jailbroken, and you can come to my house and I'll just load SD cards with games for you.
That's so
I bought I bought it right. This is when PSP was again a handful of years old.
Yeah.
So
PSP is still so good.
So it was like $100.
Yeah.
Or $60 at a yard sale. I bought it, and he I would just go over there. I'm like, here's my SD cards. Give me, and he had the whole library. So it was just like, give me games.
Yeah.
Well, then I did the same thing with the Xbox 360.
Okay.
I played and beat Halo Reach a week before it came out.
What? How?
Because this is the height of like torrenting and internet leaks and ISPs not caring about like anything that goes over their networks.
Yeah.
So CenturyLink's like, yeah, you want to download whatever? Like, I don't know. There's like Wild
we
Frontier.
We trust you.
Yeah, it was Wild Frontier.
That's crazy. The Wild West of internet.
Well, what he did is he did something called the mods were kind of cool because what he did is he did something called flashing the hard drive.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the security on the consoles from that generation was baked into the drives, and their ability to read proprietary disk software.
Okay.
Well, if you remove that, you can just burn a disk onto a CD-ROM and then play it.
Yeah.
So I could pay him $5 and he would burn me a game.
Oh my gosh,
so
dude.
I had like Bioshock Infinite, all the Fable games, Splinter Cell, like you name it. I had this huge library.
This is outside of the statute of limitations, right? Because that is pirating, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I don't think that anybody will care.
Dude.
It's
also,
so
no
stupid.
one listens to this podcast.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right.
That and the fact, like, I don't own any of this stuff anymore.
Yeah, that's true. It doesn't matter.
The CDs are long gone.
I mean,
I was young.
It was your neighbor doing this. You were just like a little kid. He was like, "Hey, I'll give you this game for $5." You're like, "Okay."
You're making his neighbor seem. You're putting his neighbor in a worse position.
We haven't said any names.
Yeah, that's true.
Or locations or whatever.
Or locations.
Anyway, it's fine. It's not a big deal. It's whatever. But because of these weird backdoor
I'll just say
experiences.
the street name.
and they're probably still living there, and it's probably the same neighbor. Anyway,
So you don't have to say anything.
yeah. No. This is it's for the details.
I'll just to say it.
I'll just say his first name. I won't say his last name.
Actually, now that I think about it, I only know his last name.
Yeah.
I do. I only know his last name.
Yeah.
I know his kid's name.
Yeah, we both know his kid's name.
Okay, we'll just say his kid's name.
Okay. Yeah. First and last.
Yeah.
No, and where he lived and where he slept. Yeah. Anyway,
And his birth date.
Yes. So I had these weird experiences where I had access to these huge libraries by coincidence, right?
Yeah.
And that's really why I have such a breadth, because like none of this would be sustainable if you were doing it legitimately.
Yeah.
Period. Like ridiculous. So the happenstance with all the first set of consoles being old hand-me-down.
Yeah.
And then the 360 jailbreak. The 360 thing was kind of a pain in the butt because he was refurbishing and flashing. He's like, yeah, it's going to cost you $150. I'll give you an Xbox. And if it ever breaks, just bring it back and I'll fix it.
Okay.
I probably went through 10 or 11 Xboxes.
Oh, jeez.
And I was constantly having brand new consoles come into my house that he got for literally free that he fixed.
Mm-hmm.
And then they would red ring after I played them.
Yeah.
Right? So I had this, and they were all flash, so I still had the game library, just the CD case just full. Of like, he even had, for a while, he was doing art on them. He had like an art printer. So you could actually put like disc art on them.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice, dude.
That's crazy.
So that was
crazy.
So that was pretty cool.
Was he doing this with like a lot of different people? Like this was kind of like a business for him, right?
Miniature? Yeah, because he would go to work or whatever, but he's probably doing it for like a dozen different. He always had like
just a profitable.
He always had like 8 or 10.
hobby.
He always had like 8 or 10 Xboxes stacked up on his desk that he was like fixing and flashing or whatever.
That's crazy.
The one caveat is you had to be careful going online because it was technically detectable. So if you got on day one, you're gonna get your Xbox Live thing banned.
Yeah.
But as you know, I played plenty of Xbox Live with you on all those games, and none of those games were legitimate copies. so it was, as long as you were careful, it was totally fine. And then I got sick and tired of the thing breaking.
Yeah.
Surprise!
Yeah.
He got really tired of fixing them for me.
Yeah.
It's like I played a lot of video games. I was a kid. I had time.
Yeah.
And coming back every 3, 4, 5 weeks and being like, "Hey, I need a new Xbox."
My Xbox is broken again.
Yeah, you did. you did this. Right.
Yeah.
This is your fault.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's true.
so I saved up and bought a PS3.
Okay.
And it was the 500 gigabyte PS3 Slim model.
Okay.
Right when they were doing package deals for that.
That wasn't the one that had like the top slider thing, was it?
That's the Super Slim.
Okay.
That came out years later.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
It's like no. That's the super slim.
It's the Super Slim.
And I'm like, okay, what about the one that had the thing that like you put it on its side? He's like, no, that's the extra slim. This is the slim.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like Oreo brand. This is like
Yeah,
Oreo,
it's
like
double stuff.
Yeah, double stuff.
Pretty sure I bought that for like $250.
Because like the original PS3 came out and it was like absurdly expensive.
I think it was either 7 or I think it was like in between 7 and 800
And then they brought out the slim and it was like 300, right? Or did they remarket it as 300?
They brought the price down on the original, and then the original went through, like, I can't remember. There might have been an iteration between the Slim and the original one.
Okay.
But the Slim is the one, like, 90% of people who owned a PlayStation own that model, and it was by far, from a hardware perspective, like, the best model.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Kind of like with the 360s, how they went and did the 360, like the Xbox 360S. I think it's the one you owned. It's the model you owned. That's like by far one of the best models of Xbox 360.
Cool. The white. It was like white and had all the little holes in it and stuff. I'm thinking of Xbox One. That's the Xbox One.
That's the one Xbox. Yes.
Yeah, our 360. I don't think ever got the red ring of death. So
it never got the red ring of death. It did have,
but
early
we probably
on,
it wasn't
manufacturing
like
issues, but.
Oh yeah,
because the laser. I remember you got it brand new for Christmas. I remember the year you got it for Christmas.
Okay.
And the disc.
You guys probably just heard a big thud. Valjean just tried to jump in my lap and just hit his head really hard on the bottom of it.
Yeah, you scratched
Poor
his
guy.
ears.
It just
It
was so funny. It's boom.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah.
I don't even remember when I got an Xbox 360, but I don't think it was like when it came out.
No,
it was afterward. So I probably didn't, because it sounds like the first big wave of Xbox 360s was the Red Ring of Death generation.
Oh my gosh, it was ridiculous.
So I didn't get that one.
No, you got the model they fixed.
Nice.
That was the same. Just for reference, you'll remember this. That was the same year your dad bought all of his son's switchblades for Christmas.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Throwing knives.
And yeah. So that was that.
Really?
Christmas.
It was switchblades, but
everyone used
mine
it.
turned into a throwing knife.
Wow.
I still have it. I think it's all broken, but
That's crazy.
For obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Surprise.
That's crazy, dude.
that was fun.
But yeah, that was the Christmas for the Xbox. I remember when you got it because I had my PS3 maybe a year prior after dealing with the broken Xbox problem forever. And that's what got me into the PlayStation ecosystem.
Got it.
So.
Well, this has been awesome, dude. You got a long list of games here. We're definitely going to be coming back to all of these probably at some point. We're at about an hour of recording time. So
yeah,
probably wrap it up here, right?
Yeah, I mean, we could go on for hours, and we will, but not today.
And we will have Isaac back on. He is a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah. Isaac came over-prepared.
Yeah.
You couldn't not because this is your life and your degree, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, and I spent a lot of free time playing. I'm kind of a nerd at heart, right? So, like my hobby, my kind of hobby's video games.
Maybe we'll have you on to talk about, like, the benefits and, like, downfalls of, like, PC gaming versus console gaming.
Sure.
And, like, which is cheaper and, like, the end and all that. We can talk about all that sort of stuff because... I only know console. I basically only know the Switch.
Right.
Like that's like my wheelhouse.
Mm-hmm.
And so
I don't even have a wheelhouse.
And also like legal stuff. Like I don't do any of the, you know. I'm not a bad boy.
The gray area.
Yeah. And so when it comes to like PC gaming, I have no idea what I'm talking about. So we'll definitely have you back on.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming on, man. This has been
good, dude.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's fun to talk about all the business. All the goods.
We're gonna have lunch and talk about illegal things now.
Yes, we
absolutely.
All right.
Isaac, what do we say at the end of the episode? Do you know? This is a test.
Something. Take it out. I can't remember the guy's name.
His name is Kibo. He's kind of a.
I gotta ask you where you got that outro from because the moment you introduced it,
good story.
Like, good story. Should we tell it right now?
Madeline surprised me. It was for my birthday, I think. You were in on it, Holden.
Yeah, I was in on it.
She paid some guy on Fiverr to make us a rap. Outro for our podcast, and he just pulled that out within hours. It was the same day.
Intro,
and it's good, dude.
The little intro jingle I just made.
Holden made the intro jingle.
I really liked that intro jingle when you guys introduced it. I was like, oh, that's really good.
You probably recognize all of those noises.
Oh, I could identify every sound.
Yeah,
100%.
But I like it.
Yeah,
Holden killed it with that. Madeline killed it, and Kibo killed it.
Yeah.
So Kibo, take us out.
Hey, free game, talking gaming day and night. This the show that you've been missing, guaranteed to get you hyped. Up, down, left, start, better charge up your controller. The show is taking over with Justin and with Holden. Hey, phase 10, Halo Reach, Magic the Gathering. Plenty games we talking, cause that's what we got a passion in. Hey, restart, run it back, let's play like we in the arcade. Homie, this is free game, let's go.